Spoiler warning. This video will contain spoilers for content up to and including the final boss. Alright, put your clown wigs and makeup away, everyone. Silksong is real, and it's here. Hollow Knight was my favorite game for several years, so needless to say, I was really excited for this release, and even took a day off work just to play it on release. So was it worth it? Today we're going to be covering my thoughts after beating the game, giving my perspective as someone with over 150 hours in the original. So let's get started. Right off the bat, one of the most significant changes that I noticed seconds after gaining control of Hornet, the pogo change. In the prior game, attacking straight down was a pretty ubiquitous part of your experience, whether it be dunking on enemies, traveling to higher places, or just using hazards as stepping stones. It was a constant. And while I don't think this hinders the first game, it is something I would not have liked to do for an entire second entry. Indeed, Hornet's base kit only being able to attack at a diagonal when going downwards was a big deal. And even to take it a step further, she doesn't keep going until making contact, she only travels a short distance. All of this comes together to make this game feel more demanding, right off the bat. Whether it be bouncing off enemies or spikes, you'll need to be more careful and have better timing. I really support this change. It makes the moment-to-moment gameplay feel a bit more tangible. Even problems I encounter where I recognize pogoing would clear them, I still had to actually pay attention and not miss my angle, kind of like playing Fox in Smash Bros. And if it stops there, I'd really have nothing negative to say about it, but unfortunately, this new attack did have one annoyance that was constantly rearing its head, even near the end game: the startup frames. This attack does not come out instantly. It takes Hornet just a few brief frames to execute it, and that will cost you. So many times throughout my journey, I was getting hit by spikes because I technically hadn't completed the attack yet, despite giving the input. If this was just a one-off occurrence, I wouldn't say anything. But when it happens so frequently, it definitely starts to be a nuisance. Overall, I do still like this change, even if it comes with some noticeable growing pains. So let's move on to our next topic, some of the quality of life changes. Another very simple addition in Silksong is being able to vault onto a ledge and even jump from it. Again, kind of like Smash Bros. However, this seemingly small change does make the platforming feel even better. Jumping from the ledge and making that big jump to get where you were going just feels so smooth, and beats the hell out of landing, readjusting, and jumping again. Such a tiny detail here, but it always felt so great to execute. Another change I took heed of pretty early on was the fact that we have two different currencies now. One for tool crafting and one for, well, everything else, I suppose. I would have liked if the shell shards were used for even just one more type of transaction, since they don't go anywhere when you die. You don't have to worry about losing them, if you fail to retrieve your soul. And thank goodness for that, because if you lost access to all your tools the moment you started struggling, that would be pretty damn cruel to the player. Speaking on the currencies, though, they really just go all over the damn place here, especially the rosary beads. For most of my playthrough, I had the rosary magnet equipped, and I really can't fathom how many beads I would have lost without it. This was another obnoxious little thing to manage, as sometimes I would find caches of shell shards, for example, but without the magnet specifically for them, I'd usually lose a ton of them just due to them falling into hazards or whatever. Not a great system, and was not as common of an issue in the first game. I would have liked if there was just one magnet type item that helped you get both, instead of having one magnet, for each. And while we're on the subject of Hornet's customization, here's another pain point I had: crests. Being able to change out your character's basic moveset is certainly a neat idea. I really like the concept, actually. The execution, however, was quite lacking. Whenever you obtain a new crest, it instantly and automatically replaces whatever you had equipped, with no way of changing back until you sit your ass on another bench. This is rough, to say the least. Changing all of my basic moves with no consent, no tutorial, and no test dummy does not make a good first impression. Every time I claimed one, I had this, ew, get it off of me, type response, as I felt my control of Hornet slip away. This would already be enough for me to bring this up in the script, but the criticism doesn't end there, sadly. On top of everything mentioned before, it also strips away any badges you may have had equipped. Your compass? Gone. Good luck. Your throwing knives? Don't think so. Any magnet abilities you had for all those beads or shell shards? In your dreams. Like, come on, dude. Checking my map obsessively is a core part of the gameplay experience, and you just take my compass away? These crests are just not implemented well, and I hope they get adjusted in a future patch to be less obtrusive when you obtain them. Again, I really do like the concept. Next up, let's look at something I have nothing but praise for: sound effects. This game just makes everything you do feel a little bit better. Particularly swings with your needle, they really nailed that one. The only other thing I would have liked to see in the sound department is Hornet using some of her classic battle voice lines from the first game when using her skills. Maybe like a 1 in 10 chance for her to say it. I think that would be really neat, you know, a fun little Easter egg for the people who have played the first game. Moving right along, let's go on about the quest journal. This was a very distinct change from the first game. There are more quests in general, they are neatly arranged in your menu, and sometimes you can even see your rewards beforehand. I do like the UI here, it's made quite well. But the quests themselves range from the usual stuff I'd expect to be doing to just kill quests. I completed several of these throughout my time in Farloom, but I was always a little taken aback when I saw a collect X amount of items quest. It just seems a little low quality for a game like this. This is a sequel to one of the most beloved indie games of all time, and I'm hunting down 10 cockroaches like it's a bog standard MMO? Does that not strike anyone else as odd? Maybe this is just me. But I feel like these could have been more creative, or maybe even just non-existent at all. I will say though, despite them feeling a bit tacky, they were never really frustrating. All the quests that involve retrieving a certain number of items from enemies have high drop rates, so it really shouldn't take you that long to clear it out. Another feature that just missed the mark a little bit, but does not by any means ruin the experience. Right back onto a positive note, let me speak about my favorite movement tech in the game, Claw Line. You get it pretty late into the game, for sure, but oh man, the freedom and fluidity that comes with it makes it so worth the wait. The room you acquire it in even has a bit of a playground for you to learn how to use it and reach some high areas. I had a big old smile on my face learning how to use this ability. I fell in love with it instantly. Whether it be crossing astronomical gaps by combining it with your parachute, using it to access a slew of new areas, or most fun of all, in combat. This certainly took some testing, but eventually I realized just how effective it could be in the right scenario. Particularly against the last two bosses. There were attacks where it could be used very cleanly as both an offensive and defensive threat, and that just felt incredible every time. All that being said, even this does have its one big setback: the fact that it costs silk. Now, in combat, this is a non-issue. You're of course naturally refilling your silk as you strike with your needle, and can certainly claw line whenever you wish to. But that's not where the problem lies. My issue comes with exploration. Certain segments rely heavily on the claw line, and after a while you'll realize the problem. When it costs silk, and the passive regen from your silk hearts, while being convenient, is not the quickest, there will be times where you're kind of just chilling on your platform waiting for your silk to regen so you can progress. And man, as someone who's been playing a lot of Sonic games this year, this just ruined the flow. Going from precision jumping, dashing, positioning, completely focused on where I need to go, and then you're telling me I have to just wait? multiple times even. It's pretty lame. Certainly doesn't spoil how much I love this ability, but it is something I would like to see adjusted somehow. Maybe not consuming Silk if no enemy is struck, since I have zero issue with it costing Silk in combat. But if we're mentioning combat, now might be a good time to talk about bosses. They did a good job here for sure. I can't really remember any boss being truly unfun. A little basic in the beginning, but that is naturally to be expected, so no marks there. The standouts for me were Lace, Fourth Chorus, Cogwork Dancers, and Grandmother Silk. These were exceptional, carrying a lot of flair, fun attacks to dodge, and just good themes. Lace getting progressively more difficult as you face her throughout the game is nice, and by the end she feels like an exceptional duelist. I love how her fight made me slow down a bit, be a bit more patient and focus. Really felt like fighting a fencer. Cogwork Dancers felt like the Mantis Lord's equivalent of this game, and I mean that in the most endearing way possible. Constantly moving at different angles for you to adjust to, and rarely giving you a moment to catch your breath. An incredible fight. With 4 phases even. Speaking of 4, the Fourth Chorus was, while an early fight, so not particularly challenging, but I do think Team Cherry did a great job making him feel like this giant for you to topple. One of the coolest looking bosses for sure. And finally, the matriarch herself, Grandmother Silk. If the dancers were the Mantis Lords of this game, she is naturally the absolute Radiance. However, where Radiance had some things I disliked, I have little to complain about here. Her attacks were clear and well telegraphed. You are constantly weaving around her hazards and ginormous pins. Her grab attack was incredibly cinematic and reminiscent of the true ending attack in HK when you become the giant void being thing and strike down the Radiance. And all of this without being hair-pullingly difficult right at the finish line. I hate when games do that. Great stuff. Love this boss. But sadly, it is time for me to be critical again, though our next subject is what I refer to as the boot camp of this game. You're not going to like it, but it will absolutely make you better. I'm talking about Blasted Steps and its boss, the Last Judge. Man, this almost did it for me. I had to get up to take a break during this because of just how frustrated I was getting. Blasted Steps are just not a fun area to traverse, featuring harsh wind, visual obfuscation, flying enemies, of course, and a long trek back to the boss if you die. It's a real shame, too, because I actually like the Last Judge a lot. She was a considerably strong boss with some fun attacks to learn, but my experience was just horrendously marred by her surrounding area and the trip back when I died, that I just could not truly enjoy it. Yes, it did make me a better Silksong player traversing through this hellscape, and yes, I recognize Last Judge is a good boss, but I am not looking forward to coming back here anytime soon. And speaking of walkbacks to the boss after a death, I feel like this was something Elden Ring did a really good job with. It's unfortunate to go from those tremendously convenient statues of Marika right outside the arena to a hazardous run that might see you die again before you even reach the destination. I understand it's meant to be part of the difficulty, and I'm fine with the game being challenging. I like that. But there are pleasant and unpleasant ways to challenge the player, and this falls squarely in the latter category in my book. I'd rather the Last Judge be twice as difficult and have a respawn right outside, personally. But that's enough of that. Let me talk about something far simpler. Breakable walls, a staple of this series. Now, I cannot say this with full certainty, since it's been a while since I've played Hollow Knight 1, but Silksong seemed to have a lot more breakable walls. Some pretty obvious, and some hidden really cleverly, and others being alluded to by the surrounding context clues. Those were always a treat to figure out, when the map is basically speaking to you without any words. Makes the player feel really smart. But I started getting a bad taste in my mouth towards the end of the game, as I realized these walls were just becoming a bit too common. This may just be a personal gripe, but I feel like there were so many hidden areas that they stopped feeling special sometimes. It's way more satisfying when they were spaced out, leaving you with this feeling of a wonder when you came across one. Though, I imagine this is a tough thing to design for Team Cherry. You want to incorporate a fair amount of them so players feel like they're doing a good job exploring. But if you put too many, they lose a bit of their luster. I don't know if you can ever really find a perfect balance here, and I suppose I'd rather have too many than too few. So this is less of a complaint and more of just an observation. Looking back, I find it very difficult to evaluate my time with Silksong. I love playing as Hornet, but I hate the way crests are implemented. The maps are beautifully designed with this pseudo 3D effect, but I'm sometimes doing kill quests like a Slayer task in RuneScape. The claw line is one of my favorite mechanics in a while, but it also limits my ability to keep going in platforming segments. Usually, whenever I watch a movie or complete a game, I have a fairly easy time looking back and giving it a score, but I just can't this time. Not yet, at least. I replayed Hollow Knight so many times, and expect I'll do the same here, over time. I wonder if then, halfway through playthrough number 4, if it'll click with me. If I'll truly realize my final opinion. I do keep scores like that out of these reviews, because I don't think they matter much to other people. I want to speak my mind about the details and the intricacies of this game, not just spit a number at you guys and say, yep, Silksong's an 8, or whatever. I think you get the idea. I had a lot of fun in Silksong, but the game isn't perfect. And you know what? That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect for me to enjoy it. At the end of the day, I enjoyed my time here, and I would still recommend this game to anyone who loves Metroidvanias. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing one woman's incessant thoughts about the funny bug game. And if you enjoyed your time, you know what to do. I'll be uploading regularly for the foreseeable future on my other gaming adventures. So this is Rena, and that was Hollow Knight Silksong. Take care.